You've seen how Civil 3D is able to automatically calculate and place parcel segments to create parcels according to your parameters. In this video, it gets even better because you'll see how to do this with many parcels at once. Let's see how it's done. I'm going to pick an area here and just zoom in, and why don't we take a look at this area here where we've got a long stretch and then we're wrapping around this cul-de-sac. So to get started, I'll go ahead and launch the Parcel Creation Tools. So on the Home tab, Parcel Creation Tools. And we're going to use a tool we learned about a few videos ago, and that's the Slide Line Create tool. So just like we did before, I'll launch the tool and I'll click OK to accept the styles. Now here's the big difference between what we did before and what we're about to do, and that's that we're going to turn automatic mode to on. And that's what enables us to do multiple parcels at once. So without getting into all these values just yet, I'm going to go ahead and follow the prompts, pick my parcel, define the frontage, and I'll go the whole way around this cul-de-sac. And then I'll go ahead and press enter. Now, not only is it going to lay out the first lot, it's going to lay out the second, third, and every lot that it can in the area that I've selected. Now I can either accept the result as it is, or I can adjust the values here in the parcel sizing to get the layout that I'm looking for. So this is a good opportunity for us to talk about all of the different values that are in this dialog. So minimum area we've already talked about. That's pretty straightforward. It's the minimum area of the parcel. And frontage is the distance measured along the right-of-way typically. But there are two places to measure the frontage in this dialog. One is at the offset line, and the other is at the right-of-way line, at the frontage itself. So what is this minimum frontage at offset? Well, you may have heard this called by another name, and that's a setback. So think of offset and setback as being the same thing. Now, if you're not as familiar with residential projects, it's common practice to define setbacks on each lot, front yard, rear yard, and side yard, and it creates an envelope that the building on the lot must stay within. So it keeps the building from being built too close to the road or too close to the neighbor, and that just helps manage the space management in the subdivision or in the development to keep things, at an optimum configuration. Getting back to the setting, we can measure that frontage either at the frontage offset, in this case 15 feet back from the right-of-way, or at the right-of-way itself. So why does it matter? Well, it matters on lots that are along a curved frontage, because as you move back through the lot, this gets a bit wider. So if we're able to measure the frontage at the offset, then we can make the lot a little narrower. So this can be 100 feet, and maybe this is 98 or something of that nature, and maybe we can squeeze in just a few more lots within the area that we have to work with. So that's what that setting's all about. Minimum width, pretty self-explanatory. Keep the lots within a minimum width. We don't want them to get too narrow so that we can't fit the building side to side. Same thing with depth. We want to make sure that we can get a building in there front to back. And then there's also a maximum depth setting. So this is especially, in irregularly shaped areas or around cul-de-sacs. Sometimes those lots can get a little deep when you get to the back corner, and we may not want that situation. So we can set a maximum depth setting and choose whether or not we want to use it. Another setting that's kind of interesting is this multiple solution preference. Sometimes when you get to the very end or the very beginning of the layout of lots, there can be more than one solution. So this will tell Civil 3D how it should pick between one or the other, either based on the shortest frontage or based on the smallest area. And then finally, we have our automatic mode, which we already discussed. That's what allows it to create multiple parcels at once. But an important setting along with that is what to do with the leftover. So it's going to lay out, a series of parcels that are all maybe exactly a third of an acre. Well, there's going to be that last parcel that's larger than a third of an acre. So how should it handle that? And what I've done in this example so far is I've gone ahead and let it apply that extra leftover area to the last parcel. Place remainder in last parcel, but there are two other choices. One is to create a parcel from the remainder, so that last parcel is going to be undersized, or I can distribute that extra area across all the parcels. And that's another option as well. And that's the one I typically like to use. Hey, let's spread the wealth. If we've got an extra fourth of an acre to play with, let's make all the lots a little bit bigger instead of just one. So you can go through and change these values. For example, I can change the frontage. If I change it to 150, the lot preview will update in the drawing, and I'll change this back to 100 because that's what I actually want to use. And when it is the way I like it, all I have to do is tell it to accept the result. Hit escape a few times, and there you can see all of our lots laid out in nice third acre parcels. And so instead of just going one at a time, we laid out, I don't know, 10 or 12 or 15 lots all at once. So that can be a very handy tool. Now you have to admit that is pretty cool. And not only that, imagine the time it will take the next time you lay out parcels for a residential project and you let Civil 3D do the work for you.